Alright, alright. Y'all have to let me know if the music gets too loud. I got a new track today. New set, new video. So sometimes they get very not well balanced. So some tracks will be way louder than the other. So, if it spikes, let me know. But it looks like good tracks so far. It started off with To Xanarkin from Final Fantasy X, so you know it's going to be good. I'm alright, Twice Dead. Let's see. Wisp, I know, well, I hope you were joking about a Moss and Stone update. But we can take a quick look at what I did do to it, if you would like. Let's see. Because I'm kind of at a boring part, just working on making the manual legible, getting rid of all my cross-outs and red lines and everything. Finalizing some decisions, but I feel like I did come up with some solutions for a couple things we had dangling. So let's see if I can find it without spending too much time on it real quick. Also, Carrie Bierman, is that? I'm assuming that's still Carrie B, just different username. We are going to be in cache tonight today. Twice Dead. I was giving Moss and Stone a little rest because, like I said, I was at a boring part. So I think we're gonna work on that beast race a bit, try and square some of that away. I've been a bit hard at work at the book this week, trying to crank that out. That's why I was saying in chat earlier. It feels like I have to. It takes so much effort to produce so little because it takes so long to get me to set my butt down and actually do something. So. Like, I'm working hard, but it doesn't look like it. Okay, Venom and Poison. That was one thing. No wolves for that story. Vampires and all that. That's kind of squared away. This is Wolfen lady. I guess she could be a Wolfen lady. If you're thinking about that one specific story. Yeah, countdown and corner. So I do have to bounce in a couple hours. So that's to remind me not to go over, because there's a call I got to jump in at 3 o'clock my time. So y'all don't let me forget. 4 squirrels were battling outside your window. Oh no. It's probably my fault. Alright, so in Moss and Stone, one thing I did, we haven't used venom and poison too much, but I wanted to make it pretty serious, so I went with, you use whatever your miraculous save is, but you don't get to use karma or hero dice. So the way karma and hero dice and Corey's ED6, they were like, bend fate to your will, make luck where you can't. And this one, mechanically it still functions the same, but it's going to be more the sense of representing you pushing through something. So you can't just not get poisoned if something bites you, but you will then use the karma to deal with the result of being poisoned and pushing through. So that was a little change. Oh, the cool, yeah. So we were working on different names for Hollow Tongues. We're still gonna have Hollow Tongue, but I wanted Hollow Tongue to be the final phase when they get that corrupted Whisperstone heart. I figured since an important stage was when their eyes wide over, we had thought about calling them Wide Eyes, but I was just gonna call them Hollow Eyes instead. Y'all can vote on that. So it's just when you start getting the signs of being corrupted, then you become Hollow Eyes. And then you become Hollow Tongue. And when you're Hollow Eyes... I might have scrolled too far. Hang on, where to go? Hollow Eyes and Hollow Tongues. When fighting Hollow Eyes, you can't use hero dice. When fighting Hollow Tongues, then you don't get hero dice and karma. So that makes them super bad. Before it was just all Hollow Tongue was no dice and karma, so now it's just that final stage. I think that might have been the bigger stuff. I love Zelda's Lullaby. That's so good. Scrolling. The corrupted priest, I think well, he's not a priest anymore, just a corrupted guy. It's pretty much the same. I just clarified some things. And you become a Hollow Eyes when you die. I think that's it. Yeah. Boy, there's so much to clean up in here. Alright. Yeah, that was the big things. Love karma dice when they bend my way. Forgot what kind of beast woman she is. It was undefined. Twice dead. I just knew she was going to be of a beast variety, but I still don't even know like what my beasts are technically. If I'm gonna like hone in on one animal or have them spread out and diverse, that's something we're gonna get into today. I did say but. Doctor Who is dead. Oh no. Who brought up Doctor Who? Anything through corrupted or harvested? No. Well, I guess it corrupted a little bit. Just clarified. Three squirrels walk into a bar. Oh man. Oh, they canceled the Xmas special. Oh no. Oh no. Alright. This sounds like Halo. Is it? It is. Look at there. Who doesn't like Halo? Turn it up a little bit. Alright. So... getting back to Kesho Night. I feel like there was something else I was going to ask as soon as we got started. Oh, that's right. It was Wisp. You and Ben were talking about grids. I don't really care if there's a grid or not, but I wanted to say I really appreciate having either a picture or some kind of map. Not to know exactly where everything is, but because it's a really good reference instead of the GM explaining for 5 minutes every single thing is in the room. Just there's a picture. They say it's worth 1,000 words, so I can just look at that and reference it. Makes it a lot easier to keep up with things. It's a vending machine from the prehistoric era. Head, lion, tail, cow hooves, maybe monkey arms mix. Yeah, so let me pull up ye old Pinterest and let's look at some of the pictures I got here. Map and grid are two separate things. Yeah, but Ben had mentioned about you know, easier visualization, and that's why I like the just having a picture or the map so much. It made me think of it. Because yeah, if you tell me everything's in the room, I won't be able to remember it or envision it very well. Let's see, how do you look? I have no idea how to use Pinterest. How do I get to my boards? Your boards, here we go. Oh, there you go. It showed, it like scrolled down automatically and was hiding some. Okay. Beast. We also don't even know what we're gonna call these guys. I don't know why, but this image amuses me. I should put this over here, and then this over here, so I can keep up with what's going on. Just Snake Man, yeet, throwing a leech at you. Not what I'm going for here, but it's amuses me to no end. Let's see. Leech be with ye. Yeah, just yeets it. Alright, I lost my Pinterest browser. Where did it go? Here it is. Also, y'all are going to be helping me work on a book cover next week. I've already decided, because I have a call with the editor Wednesday and her designer, and we're gonna try and figure out a look for the series, not just that particular book. So I have to get on here and find things I like and dislike about book covers, and y'all get to help. So I think just put some of these guys out here. Then we get rid of Leech be with ye, man. Y'all might even have to help me remember too, some of the things I said. As far as what I didn't like about Beastlies. I feel like I'm missing some pictures. Alright. War beasts could work as a name. You don't create monstrous beings without a monstrous purpose. What is more monstrous than the war? I like that. War beasts. Oh, yeah, different languages for names. I do that a lot. Matter of fact, Bashkim is Arabian? Arabian? Something that means unity. I forget what language specifically, but... And Macanibris was 2 words. I think they might have both been Latin or Greek or something. The Minecraft soundtrack makes you cry. Yeah, it's good tracks. Theroin, coin Greek for dangerous animal. Interesting. Anyway, whatever we call them, war beasts, beastskin, animal folk. The idea was I have arbiters in this world, and they are all the deities under the main deity, which is the good holy light. So one went off, got thrown out during the holy war and everything, and she's been off trying to use divine powers with what has already been created. So she started trying to mix, I guess, different life with each other. So that's like something like this would kind of make sense. Then the idea was to make these because she wanted soldiers, because she wants to go take over the world and all that good stuff. So I'm going to put over here what I don't want a beast race to be. I do not want this. You know, not that this person's drawing is bad or anything, but that is the opposite of what I wanted. Don't want just, you know, human with fur or scales, right? We don't want that. Paizo Publishing. Oh, is this from Pathfinder or something? Just threw them under the bus. So we're gonna put a big ol' no under that. But something like this is kind of interesting, I feel like. Penguin-like creature art. You don't want a superficial beastkin that people can more easily fantasize about? You're right. We don't want that. Star Trek alien approach to non-human species is so uninspired. So I haven't watched a lot of Star Trek, but aren't they just like all humans, basically? The Breggles is a beast folk. Animalistic beings should look like animals. Yeah. And like, they're not supposed to be appealing by any stretch of the imagination. Like, she's just making soldiers. She doesn't care if they're ugly. So something strange looking like that, though I don't feel like this would make a very good soldier. That's a lot of neck to slice, but generally like anthropomorphic animal species only when they give me something beyond just what the animal and human provides, like Kinku, who are way too good at making a duplicate of any kind. Yeah, if she's messing with curses, then where, if she is more scientific, than homunculi. Rubberhead aliens. Star Trek, most are human with funny ears. Yeah, or human with funny nose. Or no nose. Or human with funny eyebrows. I need to watch more Star Trek. Kind of missed out on that growing up. But the idea is like, you know, animals are generally very strong. Like my little kitty cat over here. Let's see. I'll put the camera on him. Boop. Oh, I missed him. There he is. He's sleeping. Can't see him. He's trying to sleep, but I'm bothering him. They are generally very strong, right? Have a lot of muscle mass to them, like a tiger. It's like, what, 700 pounds of just solid muscle, and can crush a bear's skull in a single swipe. Just, it's insane. So you take something like that and make it more, what's the word I'm looking for? Controllable. Like, you give it more intelligence, and then I guess more maneuverability is the word I'm looking for. Some, you know, proper hands and stuff, but just that raw muscular power and animal stuff. The cat has had enough. Yes, he has. And he went right back to sleep. Different animal traits due to their different missions. A weasel folk. Yeah. So I think we had talked about that. Like, maybe there are the different, because I don't know if there are going to be just all these different kinds, or if she focused on one, or like she decided, oh, I want a piece of this, a piece of that, and a piece of this to try and make the perfect soldier. So like something that has both regular air, lungs, and gills, you know, so it can go in and out of water. Something that also has wings. I don't know. That might be what she does. I know I want her to have a handful of failed species as well. It just didn't work the way she wanted. I do have one species specifically that she made that I want to try and put into the world anyway. It's a lizard type of species, and they came out very good in the sense they were very adept, very smart, very good at combat and all that, but they couldn't use magic. And she was like, that is useless to me. So just kind of got rid of them. Just tossed them out into the world. Like, I don't want you. Only to find out they had some innate magic in them for something totally different. We would argue the horn should be facing forward weapon. Yeah. Piercing versus ramming. That's a good point. Hippo. Oh well, yeah. Here, I got a picture for that. This is a good example of what I mean by just raw muscular power in your soldier. Yeah, just grab crocs, smash them together. Brutal. Legendary soundtrack for a game about placing blocks. That's how it goes. Leopard seal, apex predators of the icy waters, their teeth can maul. Yeah, y'all are getting it. So, like I said, I don't want them to be visually appealing in the sense people will automatically think furry and fantasize and all that weird stuff. But I don't want it to be body horror either. So just, you know, something that looks like shouldn't really exist or is kind of a, maybe not an abomination, but not right. Failed species. Read Frank Herbert's Pandora sequence books, especially the Lazarus Effect. All right. What happened to my music? There we go. Oh, you can't have a collection like this without Aerith's theme. Can't control their thirst. Yeah, no, I know it. They'll do whatever they want. Are extra limbs a thing? Are you going for the earthly quadrant? Well, I mean, depends. I feel like it would probably make more sense for her to make multiple different types of these animal things for different scenarios. Like she could have her underwater ones or aerial ones or big tank ones. So that might bring in extra limbs. And Naga that is a warrior dragon. I played as a Naga, I think. Isn't that the lizard? Basically a snake whose scales grow and spike out speed and poison. Ooh. Alright, I wanted to grab Twice Dead's comment here. About that. And carry bees. Put those right there. How is she making them? Because that could affect form. Well, that's kind of still up for grabs. So that I think most of it's going to be done while she's on what is essentially Earth in the universe. So well, you read the book, Carrie. You know what happens. The Arbiters made these things called Keshonite crystals, and that all fell out of the heavens during the Holy War, came down. So there's a lot of different types of that Keshonite stuff. So she's trying to use that and then taking creatures that already exist, because she essentially can't make something from scratch. So she just has to mutate and pervert what's already there. There might be a period of time where she's doing this in the heavens, where she has access to a little more power before getting thrown out. But she still has some divine powers to her, right? But she is limited by being on the world. We made a board! Are you planning on commander or centurion style forms? Is there a hierarchy, or is it simply the higher power and her grunts? Pretty much grunts. That's what I'm thinking so far. What if she wants to make the ultimate apex of an area based with a picture of the Hippo Man? As I was saying, there will probably be various breeds, we will say. Do you have a list of Keshonite types, or are they element-based? No and no. Because that requires me to do work and think. I make them up as I go. Divine Keshonite would lead to a better / more effective, more intelligent, more powerful force. Yeah. Yep. Nerd. So this is what I was talking about, the music. Like, this track is super quiet, and then the next one's probably going to be loud. But anyway. And the idea of what happens to all these species she's making, she abandons most of them because she doesn't like them or they didn't turn out the way they wanted, and the arbiter of nature in this world ends up adopting all of them and becomes their arbiter. Now, the beastly folks specifically, I want them to go out into the world. Either she sends them out in waves because they weren't the way she liked, or when she ends up getting defeated and all of her troops go out into the world. Well, there's some Skyrim music. The beastly folks have a very strong disdain for Keshonite, and they acknowledge that they were made incorrectly, like they were made for war, and that they are an abomination, but they will choose to try and live not as such, but they will want nothing to do with Keshonite because they see it as something horrible. Kind of make their own belief system, right? Do you want them to be humanoid or quadrupedal? Pedal. Either one, man. Like, we can do both if we're doing various different forms. I kind of like the idea. I think I have a picture. If I could ever find the right tab. Yeah, so imagine this ain't the best, but imagine this, if you will. Whoop, put it right there. Like, you can see that Crocs or Gator, whatever, those aren't normal, like, on all four kind of legs. Like, it looks like those are arms, but he's using them as all four. So imagine this guy, like, having armor and a sword strapped to his back, and he gets on all fours and runs towards you, and then stands up and draws a sword. Like, that would be terrifying. And that's kind of what I'm going for, so. Isle of Dr. Moreau, or Morale, I don't know how you say that, but I do have that written down. And another stream on this specifically, somebody brought it up. This music sounds very Nobuo Uematsu. It was. That was Aerith's theme a minute ago. Now we're on Skyrim, but Nobuo Uematsu was the GOAT. Each type of Keshonite could also be assigned to a weakness. Oh, maybe she made multiple war beast forms. Chat. Some of the land warfare. Yeah, it's probably going to be the route we go. Twice dead. Because I don't think she's going to make the ultimate life form. And plus, that gives you lots of beast variety. Now, there is the weird question of, okay, how does all these new species continue to repopulate? It's like, that wouldn't work. I came up with some theories, which I don't think we'll get into at the moment. That's a question for later. I had an idea, though, for a long while ago. One of her failed species that she makes, that's kind of like a big thing about it, is like they cannot reproduce, and they're like, yep, and it's after they're out and free and everything, and somebody meets them, they're like, oh dang, so when one of you die, like, that's it. They're like, yeah, yep, there's not going to be any more of us, so that would be an interesting thing to explore. Gaia takes over Tiamat's brood kind of thing. Maybe. Skyrim music while you were mentioning the basic Parthenax argument. Dude, that's such a good line. What is it? Which is better, to be born good, or to overcome your own evil nature through great effort? Such a good line. City of Dr. Moreau. Okay, it is Moreau, roughly. First generations are human plus one animal. As the generations go on, they have more animal traits. They get more chimeric as they go on. Asexual budding. I guess. Spores. Life finds a way. Well, it's funny you say that because that was kind of the part of the theory I was going with. Perhaps physical crafting. I've seen some lore like dwarves physically craft their progeny from stuff. Snatch humans and alter them to match. Ooh. Alchemic transformation. Can't reproduce, so you make. Mighty Boosh. I don't know that one. I should have made some goals for today instead of just, let's make animals. Out like a light. He'll be snoring in a minute. Ligers and mules. See, that's a cool idea, Wisp. And whoever it was that mentioned taking other people, but like, that would definitely not be something they do. Because of how they see themselves and all that. They very much keep to themselves for the most part. Like, they don't want to just off-all themselves, but like, no, we're going to continue to live and do the best we can, but we're going to separate ourselves from everyone else. And that's why they kind of get a bad name for themselves. And why I was kind of leading, but that was my original thought behind the name Beastkin, when I just needed a placeholder. It's like, oh yeah, because everybody sees them as beasts, and they just let people think that. Because they're like, fine, we don't want anything to do with y'all anyway. It is cursed then by them attacking other people, creatures, slowly try. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't want to go that route. I don't think they would go that route. That would be very cool, though. Levels of sentience should be a consideration. Yeah, I figure earlier versions probably won't have much intelligence and sentience and all that. That'll be something she has to perfect. And that can also give them a bad name too, why people just see them as beasts, because they see some of the lesser brained ones. Unnecessary evil. Yeah, no, it's a fun idea and a fun story plot kind of thing to do, but for them specifically. Now, what you could do, they could take an animal and do something with that in order to maybe that's the only time they use Keshinite or something. They figured it out, and they'll take an animal, and that's how they pass themselves on to the next part of the family tree. But like, that to them is like taking another person and putting them through that. Might be something to consider. Can beastmen switch between forms? No, that is not the plan. They are stuck in this form. So no werewolfing. The entity that adopted them made them alive, gave them a natural form. Another way to view the interactions with normals. Read Jasper for once. Players did next books and see how clone Neanderthals are the greater society. Cool art. Also, hi. What's up, Blaze? How you doing? I saw you playing Last Flag earlier. What if they transplant themselves to an animal? No one knew, but through transfer they are functionally immortal? Yeah. That would be neat and interesting, but they would still be a very limited species. Whenever one died, that would be it. A newly born kitten. Swap them! Everybody play Last Flag. I don't think it's gonna make it, Blaze. I think it's dead in the water. Changes the animal to a war form. Use the Keshanite to graft on the part she wants so the functions and the stones can either interact well or poorly. I'll fight to the bitter end. I don't know, Blaze. You trying. You trying. You trying. So let's start 8th. That is way bigger than I want. Put this on the board. There we go. Sterile fish skin for wound. Ew. Keshanite stones were mostly temperature based. No. No. They do all kinds of stuff. Which I should probably figure out. Instead of just saying magic. Perhaps what is a real concern and another reason to isolate. Maybe there is a sect of them that secretly deal with Keshanite to split a person into two. Kind of a transfer meiosis. I like the idea I had a little while back about how they would reproduce is that two have to come together and then use some Keshanite somehow, and it consumes both of them to make something new. But then I was like, well, that would just be dividing constantly, and you would run out of people eventually. Unless it always makes two or more. What made bashes a different color? So... I don't know if y'all... I don't know if y'all heard that. You can't see him. He's very startled. Something just smacked the window and he woke up hissing. Just and looked at me very confused. It was just a crazy bird hitting a window crash. So anyway, just the Keshanite just has different colors. The color doesn't specifically mean anything, but it is tied to their Keshanite specifically. Like so, that one type they used in the book will always be that purplish color that was mentioned. But it's not like, oh, purple means fire or something. So green was just Bashkim's color that he got. Becomes less effective integrated with each copy. Kinda, yeah. How much of an explanation does well-written magic need? Well, that depends on your audience. Some people like to know all the ins and outs. Some don't care. Some are fine with just magic. I like to know I think it's a good practice for the developer of the magic system to know the ins and outs as much as possible. And, you know, try to explain it as much as possible to yourself in your own documentation. That way it's more consistent in your world. That is not what they did with the Force and Star Wars. And that is why it is wildly inconsistent. Maybe Kesha can rehydrate the clay out of what living things are made so they can make their own kids out of dead things. Build a baby type deal. That would be interesting. Like if, so I imagine like the, these beast folks having their own little tribes, like they're very tribe style. And you know, this is times where we have big kingdoms and castles and cities, right? But they're doing their own little tribes and camps throughout the wilds. And it would be interesting if each camp / tribe had that one piece of Keshonite they used to make. But other than that, they were like, Keshonite bad, but we want to continue to live. That would be interesting. I still wanted to lean towards them not doing anything with Keshonite, though. Unless there's... Ooh. What if... Okay, so the Arbiter lady that's making them after she's defeated and everything, like all that Keshonite and lab equipment essentially, is still in the ruins of where she was defeated, and every time they want to make more, they have to go venture into that. It'd be like your trial or whatever. That would be interesting. I actually kind of like that, because they would have to, it's like, okay, you're going to use, we don't like Keshonite, you're going to use Keshonite to do this thing to keep us alive, but you need to remember what Keshonite did. And then you go to that old battlefield, the ruins and the destruction and everything, so you have to witness all of that, or see the aftermath at least. And kind of like that. That might be a way to do it. Maybe more of the woman who created these creatures. Yeah. Let me read the other ones here, though. After battle, they scavenge for fresh body parts fallen. Maybe they're a group of them willing to give up and split bits of their essence to a new being that permanently harms them. That was another way I was thinking of doing that. My phone's buzzing. No, not important. Make them classes. Did you watch Mandalorian Grogu? Nope. I have no desire to see that movie. A pilgrimage. Yeah, basically. Okay, so explain more of the woman who created these creatures. So the woman who is making all this, she is an arbiter. And in this world, I have these things called arbiters, and you have like the arbiter of nature, the arbiter of war, the arbiter of the economy, whatever. That's the idea. So each race, like, you know, your elves and dwarves and all that, they all have their own arbiter. And, you know, these arbiters are supposed to watch over that realm, what they have been assigned to. And over all the arbiters is essentially just God. So the arbiter of what are elves in my world, called Eshens, so let me back up. There's a holy war at some point during the early stages of creation, after the world's made and things are getting set in place, and it's very much just the biblical holy war. You know, there was the arbiter of humans, which didn't want to be that. He thought it was more important, just mirroring what happened in the Bible. That's their holy war. He gathers a bunch of angels and arbiters. There's a big holy war. They all lose, get thrown out, they become demons, go to hell, all that good stuff. And Ferrandi is the name of this arbiter lady that we're talking about. She was not quite involved. She didn't get thrown out in the initial casting or throwing out. But the devil of this world was still using her after the fact, and that's when she started messing around with the Keshonite and started making these creatures. She gets found out, a big accident happens, and that's what flings all the Keshonite down to the world and her. And they don't cast her out with the rest, because at this point she is tied to those Eshens, and if your Arbiter dies, everybody in that species dies too. So they're like, well, we can't kill her. Can't throw her down into hell, so we're just gonna put her on the world and let her roam as her punishment. So that's why she loses some of her powers and just has to roam for a long, long time. And she's trying to build up an army and make her people the ruling race of the world. There you go. Burundi 101. In the world of Gilgamesh, the gods made humans from clay and made them self-replicating. They made the world by the gods fighting. Marduk killed Tiamat and used her body to make everything. Well, I like a good Gilgamesh fact. Put you back on the board. Let's see. Or they come as spontaneous life, like the Greeks thought flies came out naturally out of rotten flesh. Maybe the war beasts come out of the bloody soil after battle. Kinda like that. Are all these arbiters afraid that if there's so many of them, they may have a little bit of arbitration? Hardy hard. They're made for war, and they are war-born. Wherever blood is spilled and corpses pile, the war beasts come out. Big Nasty. Who do you call Big Nasty? How dare. And she's going to want her fighters to be as perfect as possible. That's the idea. Now, side question. Did you see Attack on Titan? The first Titan was essentially cursed with building all the other Titans in a place outside Titan. Bro, he spoiled it. I've seen the first season. Or first two. Whatever was on Netflix 100 years ago for the longest time. And then there was nothing. So, I really want to finish that show. I feel like I kind of had it figured out what was going on for the most part. I deleted it. I don't know if I'll ever get to watch it, but it's alright, man. It's all good. If she believes her species is superior, she's going to have disdain for anything broken. Yeah. Yeah, so she really, how do I say this? She really likes her people. Like when she was put in charge of those, she didn't necessarily think, oh, my people are better than everyone else, but like she wanted to make sure they had everything possible. So like a very overbearing mother. And that's why Eshens actually have magic, is because she fought tooth and nail and complained and but essentially was a Karen in heaven, arguing with the other deities like, no, I want them to have more than this, you know, other than just pointy ears. Like, I want them to have some magical capability, so they gave them a little bit, and that's why Eshens have it. So, and now when she gets thrown out and makes all her mistakes, she's like, well, it's kind of a, I failed my people, so now I'm going to give them the world to make up for it kind of thing. And just kind of gets lost in the sauce while doing that. So everything that's not Eshen is disposable to her. Collection of myths about a dragon sea serpent against a storm god. Ooh. Is she possibly building them to prepare for war, for she knows the fallen arbiter will return? Well, she is the fallen arbiter, so, and yeah, it's very much for war. That was the whole point, because she wants her Eshens to rule the world, so she's giving them soldiers to use as she tries to conquer the world. for her people. She's a mom who failed. That's some deep shit. Hair can get really warped. For sure, for sure. Yahweh versus Leviathan. That sounds hardcore. And also, and actually, I started writing the book before the one I'm currently on. I just got kind of stuck, but it was about Ferrandi and her building up that army. And she is, at this point, she's pretty far along and realizes that all these things she's making aren't going to cut it. And she captures a human child and uses him as an experiment to try and like infuse him with Keshanite and make a weapon out of him. And the story follows that child. So, but that's her fault. That is the fall of Ferrandi is what I was going to call it. Maybe. But that was when she gets defeated and sealed away. Comes across as Lilith, the angel that becomes slothish in the story of Lucifer's. Oh, I have to go look that one up. Because all this is very biblically inspired. So what it's all, I guess, based off of? In the garden. What's happening to our world. So, it's Earth Early Access. Gotcha, fam. The Arbiter that is Lucifer is the fallen Arbiter that tries to manipulate. Yeah. So, yeah. You're right. So, technically, a lot of Arbiters, or a lot of angels fell. And the Lucifer of this world, which is actually Lucifer, that's the idea, is he was supposed to be the Arbiter of humans. And he didn't want to do it. So, he becomes the devil of the world. Lilith is Jewish folklore. That story isn't in the Bible. It came about around the 6th to 8th century. Satan means adversary in a legal sense. So arbiter is a connected term that fits. Yes. Totally intentional. It's one of those happy accidents. But that is also why I chose the lame name of Umbra for the devil of this world. He has a proper name, but people call him Umbra. That's like our way of saying Satan. I'll just find a picture that probably explain it better than I can. Find one that has Adobe stock written all over it. So, God in this world is just called the Light. Very creative, I know, very original. But that's why I went with Umbra, because Umbra's like the darkest spot, but like, my understanding was like it's what's closest to the light, too. Because like, you get closer and then that darkest spot right behind it, that was the idea. Very clever, very, very clever, I know, so smart. It's very silly, I know. And sometimes I regret that name. Because then I ended up coming up with a really cool name for him. Micah Nebris. And I wrote myself into a corner in the first book. And it's like, oh, nobody calls him that. It's like, dang, that was a cool name, though. I gotta love modes like these when the world building just lines up perfect. That's right. Because in Genesis, humanity is made twice, so what happened to the woman before Eve? They become twice dead, but I can see some science. Are you making sci-fi? fantasy sci-fi. It definitely has sci-fi influence to it. But Genesis counts are the same, but from two different groups that got separated after a while. One zeroed in on the creation of humanity. The other included the general creation story and both. Different cultures can have different names for the same entity, my dude. Yeah, but like, in the first book, they were like, even the ancient texts, like, they don't. That was a bad juju name. I was like, ooh. And then I ended up really liking the name. Stories of origin don't give the details. I mean, so, well, let me back up. With the names, like, yeah, I can start using it in later books as people get more used to it, but to start with one book and say, oh yeah, nobody uses that name, and then immediately in book 2 start using it, it would kind of throw people off a little bit. I gotta ease them into it. Stories of origin don't get the details we wish they did. That's not what they're for. Meaning, not details. There are at least 3 Isaiahs. What? Ancient writers often sign the name of their mentor. Hey, I actually knew that one. Let's talk about Voldemort. Oh. You can leave Harry Potter out of this. I don't know nothing about that IP. I don't think I care to either. My face when I found out Goku and Kakarot were the same person all along. Kakarot! If she's making beastkin via sorcery, then she can extend the essence of a creature to pour into another vessel until that clay vessel becomes full. The original vessels were left partially empty on purpose. Gasp. So let me before I totally forget, let me write down the idea I had earlier. How you spell pilgrimage? That's not how you spell pilgrimage. Pilgrim idea. Make new beastkin. Beastkin. Serves as a reminder to there. I did before I forget. Okay. Hebrew is weird, just a bit. Too holy to speak, so they put the vowels for Lord in to remind them. Ah. Pilgrimage. Crab soft, ever so helpful. Alright. I was going to say something before I wrote that down. What was it? Gone now. Try learning it after Greek. It's the complete opposite direction to read. Oh, and the entire new alphabet. That's true. Found older writings from Canaan. I don't know how to pronounce it. We know Hebrews were all these weird words. One point and use the word as such. Pillage. Pillage. It's like a redneck barbarian or Viking. I'm gonna go pillage a village. I felt like I was about to go down another train of thought, and then I was like, well, wait, let me write down this one first. And then I lost the original train of thought. You resemble that comment. A redneck Viking barbarian. What a combo. Alright, so... I do like the pilgrimage idea. That would suck for any of the water creatures, though. I've seen Billy Joe. He's been on one of those pillages. Be more devout, please. Oh, my cat is bringing me a gift. Hello. So I'll make my cat these little... I'll get like 2 or 3 pipe cleaners and braid them together. I guess you gotta have 3 to braid them. 2 you just twist and then just kind of tie them together here and make a little ring. And he loves them. Oh, look at those big eyes. And then he's always undoing them. And he's like, please fix it. See ya, Caribbean! Can her crafting tower be partially submerged? Maybe. Imagine if she made water people creatures, they wouldn't be limited to just water, I feel like, because that would be very limiting to her and taking over the world, because, well, there is one race I want to make that's in the Wawa, so, but I feel like they would need to be able to come in and out. What is this, Music Blaze? Final Fantasy 13 or 13-2? Can't tell. I just have the image. Oh, well, there's just shift of music. There's tone. Grab. I'm gonna put him in the corner. Time him out. It was Final Fantasy 13. That was a picture anyway. Okay. So here's the thing. If they have to do the pilgrimage thing and they're going to the lab, that gives you a lot of flexibility because you get to fall under that magic umbrella and just be like, oh yeah, magic. That's how they continue to make all these weird creatures. That's how Alligator Man and Armadillo Mom can get together and, you know, make some kind of weird combo. Alright, cat, how about this way? So normally I throw the ring that away, and I decided to throw it over here for a change, and he just the wrong direction, and he is so confused right now. Oh, well, crash now. I feel bad. Way over there. Give these young bucks a pair of pistols. So anyway, that would give you a lot of wiggle room. But that would also keep them very contained. So if we did something like this, let's say, that little dot is like a massive city. The size of one. It's not actually a city, but that means they probably wouldn't venture too far away from that if they're having to pilgrim from there to make more. So that would be probably, you'd have a very consolidated area where beasts can dwell, which might not be the worst thing in the world. But like they could not venture too far away from this thing. Sons and daughters from under the mountain, their parents carry the carrion men and beasts alike. We don't know what goes down. But a new generation of war beasts crawl out. It's pretty dope. I'll steal it. Oh, y'all having stream troubles? I turned down the super ultra low latency, so it'd be good and smooth. Does that mean y'all missed what I was saying about how Beastkin wouldn't venture out very far from the lab? Because I really like the idea of that. Excuse me, they have to go there and remember why Kesho Knight's so bad. So. But that is a problem. They would not get to go very far. Going on the pilgrimage, Faction 2 is pulling a part of the Kesho Knight to their village. Faction 3, something strange has occurred where they've been having natural bursts. I guess you could like take stuff from there and establish new, we'll call them waypoints. Woo! That people would still have to go to. It wouldn't be in each individual tribe like we had talked about earlier, but there would be definite dedicated spots that people would have to travel to. And in order to make a new one of those spots, maybe you have to go, well, I guess you would have to go to the original source to get more of the equipment. Still sounds limited, though. That'd actually be a cool story, though. When the Beastkin decide they're going to continue on, and they go back to the ruins and harvest the equipment. Multiple labs, the Arbiter couldn't have been landlocked. Enemy and most likely hunted for her heresy. Yeah, it could be. But you'd still be like relegated to those areas, I think is the word. It's a big word, might not be the right one. Now also you gotta remember, these people call this part of the world the land of the Beastkin, for few of their kind roam outside those islands. I like that. That's pretty cool. But what I was gonna say, the Arbiter of Nature, Stilvadia, ends up adopting these creatures, remember? So maybe she could do something to allow them to continue on and reproduce. They say their prayers before night and a stork comes by with a new baby. Oh. Need to get back an memeable face. Well, at least I'm memeable, I guess. We do have the new Arbiter to work with. Well, not new, but, you know, they acquire one. Do Arbiters hold a domain / power? If so, what is the adopted Arbiter? Yeah, so that was the idea. Arbiters are in charge of certain areas of the world. Some have entire species that they're over. The one I'm referring to can't get behind the stork today. The one I'm referring to is the Arbiter of Nature. So she's got like, you know, the plant life and all the animals and stuff. So she just adopts these new things that this other Arbiter has been making since they're... And that is an in-world question too that people will debate and argue over. Like, do the beastkin have souls? Like, because they were made from this animal and constructed in a lab, but they have an arbiter. So did the arbiter give them souls? You know, but whatever. So she adopts them and then into her realm, essentially. So I'm wondering if, because you know, I don't want to fall into the whatever pit of just, oh, everybody in this race or species worships this one thing and does everything exactly the same. So it's like, okay, if I say the only way they can make more of them is to follow Stilvadia, this arbiter, and pray to her or something, then that kind of just makes them all the same. But at the same time, it's like, it's one of those provable things. They're like, oh no, we know this works. Like there's no faith or anything required. So believe what you want, but we can prove that this works. So you do have that going for you. What if the beastkin are chimera or extinct beast? That came up super early on in the stream. Well, we were talking about making them chimera-esque as far as having different pieces. Sabertooth. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that'd be cool. That would be cool. I'm tinking. I know she being Ferrandi, the bad arbiter here, the Ashen Arbiter, is trying to fuse these animals with human anatomy or whatever, because in this world the humans were made for more. They were supposed to be super important. They are in tune with the Kesher Knight, whereas other species aren't. And that's, you know, going back to the whole Lucifer thing, that's why he was in charge of humans, because he was the closest to the light, he was the most respected or whatever, you know, it's God right-hand man. So he's like, you get the humans. But that still wasn't good enough for him. So humans were meant to do more. And Ferrandi, the Ashen Arbiter, knows this. Like, she knows it. She may not like it, but she knows it. So she's like, okay. So she's like silently admitting that humans are better in a sense. And that's why she's taking them and trying to create this new life with them. Because she might not at first, but that's the route she will eventually go. Because she'll have to admit, like, okay, there's something about them that is better. So I was probably going to go somewhere with that, but I forgot where. So how much of that anatomy makes it over, I don't know, but it's kind of what we were debating this whole stream anyway. They might be the only ones with a unified arbiter belief. All others might follow who they want, not them. Yeah, that would be interesting. What's up, Smug? I still get a kick out of your Discord profile every time I see it, because I still have it on my Moss and Stone whiteboard. How would you integrate the Arbiter of Nature into the Beastkin? What is the direction you would take it? Like, she just... Adopt might be the wrong word. She just steps up to the plate and takes responsibility for him. Like, and by takes responsibility, that means just kind of watches over them like she does everything else. So Arbiters aren't like hand-holding everything along the way. They're just responsible to keep things in balance, and in order to balance, that means a lot of what seems to be unfair things to other people. So, which actually gets talked about in the current book. I'm trying to remember if it did in the first one or not. Because in the first book, it's about the Arbiter of War, and it's like, yeah, you know, these are things that exist. You cannot get away from them. So somebody has to balance them, you know, keep things in check from getting out of scale, not just remove them completely. So, because the world is currently messed up. So, originally, everything was supposed to be all nice and good. But because of the Holy War and the demons falling down and Lucifer and all that corrupting the world, now they just have to hold things together, essentially. So, by her adopting these beastkin, she's just holding them together. Not saying, here's a perfect life solution for you. It's like, no, you still have to survive and all this other stuff, but involved at a distance. Nature is really broad, methinks. Maybe she is the arbiter of all that bleeds without an arbiter of their own. The wild beasts, and she took the war beasts as her claim. They were made from her stock. Well, I did want, that was another reason she stepped up to the plate to take them, is because they were already kind of connected to her anyway. Because they were all made from animals, which is under her domain. And it is intentionally broad, so I have a hierarchy of sorts for my arbiters, and her husband, who has yet to be named, are like super high up on that hierarchy. Like, all the other arbiters have a very high respect for Stilvadia, the nature arbiter. So it's not like she's super powerful. It's just she has a lot of pull, as you say, in the corporate world. A lot of authority. Congratulations on your 100th video. It was a fun video. I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed finally getting to do it, because it was, like I said, it was something I'd been wanting to do for a hot minute. And they had some good advice. I really liked Sebastian's about design intent and design goals. That was a good one. Perhaps she does not have the direct sway over them, but over the land they reside in, thus has turned the land of beastkin to be more of their liking. Prehistoric looking here? Yeah. So, like, in the current book that I'm working on, the main character actually gets to have one-on-one conversations with the Stilvadia person, and they have a little back and forth, and she's helping him along, but not holding his hand. Like, she's dropping him hints, and you know, it's kind of like when you're I don't know if we have any parents in here. If you're raising a child, not that I have one, but, or when you're teaching an underling, you know, you don't just give them the answer, right? You try and lead them to that answer and get them to think and all that stuff. So she's doing that with the main character. But that is still a very direct involvement for an arbiter. Normally they don't just show up and talk to folks, So she very much could do something with this land out here. Or she could even do something... Excuse me. She could do something with plants. Some kind of fruit or something, a plant with a seed. And then the beast can take that to their new territories to make homes. And I'm wondering if, like, that's... You can birth beastkin from trees or something? That'd be weird. Untamed wilderness. Like Pan, but harvest and lumber is others' domain. Yeah. I don't know what pan is, but sure. Untamed wilderness sounds right. Yeah, harvest and lumber would definitely be somebody else's. Yep. She is the wilds. That would be interesting if, like the beastkin were really in tune with the nature, and they treated that like the rest of the world treats Keshonite. Opposite of the Fungali bringing stone from their new colony back to the... Yeah. They get it from here, and then like maybe some... Ooh. So she does something to this land around the original headquarters of Ferrandi. And like those plants kind of fused with the Keshonite there and everything. So when they want to start a new colony or tribe or something, they harvest some of that plant and the seeds and take it with them to their new place. I don't know how that makes more beastkin, but that's a pretty cool thought. Just a, big tree with random pods that come down. It's like, oh, this one's a rhinoceros, baby. This one's a bear. That seems silly. Y'all talking about the clay, though. Some plants that do something to the ground, and they use that. Maybe a little blood in the clay. Where's my head? Back to the different factions. If you decide to use that faction tool that takes the material from the main facility, perhaps they are wrangling up other tribes and not all are willing. A little kerfuffle amongst themselves. Yep. Cyros, what's going on, man? How do I spell this name? Yes. Ooh, you know what if Ferrandi like took What if Ferrandi took Keshonite that was from Stelladia, and that's what she was using to make new ones? Or make them in general. And then the wildlife grew up, took that, fused with it, and that's... I don't know. Break time! What are you up to? We are world building in my book series. We're trying to figure out how beastly people come to existence. They course them because it's the only way to breed, expand beyond these lands. Curse them, maybe? Let's see, we got mad scientist, holy divine angel lady making all these beast people things, and then she goes away. So it's like, how does the population continue on? Mutation is always fun. Just a third arm. Oh. She left an egg stash. Coerce. Ah, okay. That makes more sense. They coerce them. Yep. That checks out. Now you need to eat more to feed that arm. Hey, that's just, what? 2 extra slices of pizza? To be molded by 2 war beasts to give form to their kid. An allergic reaction to a common magical substance. He's huffing Keshanite dust. Make a short out of that one. Alright. Is this more Halo? It is. Now go to bed so all my arms could rest. Good night. Well, we'll never know how many he actually has. But see you later, Blaze. Okay. How silly would it be? They have this plant, or various plants. They fertilize the ground and all that, and that's how they make a new home. We gotta combine... Right? Isn't that how you do it? You gotta have 2 beastkin that do something to make a new beastkin. Tossing out, sitting in this, I don't know. It's fantasy. Magic crystals. With a little bit of sci-fi thrown in there eventually. Vampires, they sure don't. Well, do something, yeah. Did you already ban this person? I think you did. I can't tell. Nope. Oh, she got it. As I was looking at it, the option went away. Now I can't. Ah! How do I get rid of them? Or I have the overlay and it shifted and now I can't go back to my chat. Good job, Twitch. There we go. Say sometimes they do crab. I was gonna say sometimes. Depends on the lore. But you're right. Mandrakes plus 2 war beasts plus ritual. Baby war beasts! Well, yeah, so I was gonna say, so maybe a little blood from each. Something in the ground. Something comes out of the plants. That seems kind of weird. Gotta unbury your baby in the morning. Or whenever the little sprout comes out of the ground. Just pull him out. Look at there. It's a child. That would be very silly. Beast people that way by choice. Nope. That's the big thing about them. They were made by a rogue, basically a fallen angel, to try and take over the world. They were made as soldiers that were disposable to said fallen angel. Assigned beast at birth. Cabbage Patch Kids, literally. Start life by digging out of your own grave. There you go. Have a fairy equal. Oh, do I have fairies? Not that I know of. How are we defining fairy, though? Bruh, what if they, like, buried bones of an animal? And then a little blood in there with it. And then buried it up with the dirt. That's a little weird. I kind of like the line of thinking with the plants. Because Mother Nature, blah, 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 blah. But it gets a little silly, pulling them out of the ground. Fairies might have knowledge of how to make war beasts. Ooh, stolen knowledge and equipment. Do you want to kill? Pay the fairies. Have to jet. There goes Glenn. If they got freedom, perhaps they sought out a new patron that could facilitate the propagation. Yeah. So, one line of thought I had was they might ask for a baby as a payment, so the baby. Ooh. They'd be fruits. I did have the thought of like, okay, so she makes a lot of these different creatures and soldiers, and a lot of them just end up not working. Like they just kind of lose their mind and just kind of cease to be. Like some just roll over dead. Blech, they don't make it. So I was like, okay, what if that's like, you know, our base instincts are to what? Eat, survive, and reproduce. So then I thought, okay, what if she being Ferrandi finally figures out that if they're lacking that capability, they just don't function right, for lack of better words. Like that's why they just kind of cease to exist sometimes, or they lose themselves, they go a little crazy. So then, and this is like, I really didn't want to get into this for world building, and like I surely don't want to write about it in a book, but like and that she gives them that capability. She designs and builds that capability, so now they have the full drive, and that is how they become more sentient and can function better. But that is also how they will continue to exist after the fact. But that's some weird details, you know, to get into. And I poked the magical land of Yeld full of holes for getting into that. Just straight biblically shaped from dust with life breathed into the bed. Take 2 breaths? Maybe. I read through 2-page justification for my friends trying having boobies. That's true, I'm not writing kids' books. So, and this would be in the lore, like deep in the wiki, if people just had to know. If somebody goes like, well, how are they reproducing? How come they're able to do this? Just like, here you go. I like the spontaneous life out of bloody soil. I'll take it from my works. I mean, that is pretty cool. I think it's a little much for them, but that is very dope. That would almost be like demonic creatures made for war or something. This is the question that one weird guy asks at your con. Yeah, give him the microphone. How do they make more beastkin? I wrote a 300-page fanfic about it. Explained in the next book in vivid detail. Plant thing seems... it's close. It's close. I'll have to explore that one, I think. Does nature encompass dirt? Is that part of her realm? Soil. Or maybe there is no beastkin, and this is where the fungali come from. Well, actually, no. Fungali are gonna be something else she tries to make, I'm pretty sure. They don't have their own arbiter, that's right. It's another one of her failed experiments. War beast isn't made for fighting another war beast. It's a fail-safe. If there's nothing else to fight, they will fight each other till death. From the corpses, 1 or 2 baby war beasts come from. Twice dead, so bloody all the time. Birth through murder. Yeah, man. Why do they have to eat the Arbiter's fruit to accept her? Whoa. Eat the Arbiter's fruit. Yeah? I do like the idea of some kind of tree with some special fruit going on. And then both parents eat the fruit and then plant the seed in the fruit. You're containing yourself. Yeah, me too, Crab. Me too. The tree of knowledge of good and evil type thing. Ooh. Back to the biblicalness. Reminds me of a sci-fi race I read about. They have 3 genders, male, female, and gestators that carry and bear the offspring. Tree gestator. It's just a tree. Now see, if we went the route... So, you know, we have one idea here. Okay, we have all these different beast types of creatures. Like, some look like hippos, alligators, whatever. Just all doing their own thing. And then we have this other route that we considered where she eventually starts figuring it out. And they're all the same, but obviously they have their differences, right? Like, all the same as in people are the same, right? We just look a little different. So they would have their same basic structure, which might be a combination of animal aspects. But if we went down that road where there was like a unified structure to them, that would be much easier for Stavadia to come in and say, okay, you can reproduce now. And then we wouldn't need to do the weird dirt thing. Old bones of war beasts, ground to dust, fertilized mandrake plate, wash it with both parents' blood. Baby war beasts, yeah. Well, there's another fruit that they eat. The fruit temporarily changes them, allows them to conceive, but the child does not partially the arbiter of nature's domain. Yeah. It's a lot of body shifting. Her nature purely benign, or does she have her own ends? What if she's altering the beast canter? She is... We were talking about it earlier. Involved, but from a distance, to try and make sure things are kept in good balance. So letting, you know, a whole beastkin species die out might be keeping things in balance. So she would not enjoy that. But if that's what she needed to do, would a chimera conceive with members of any race, like a lion griffin could conceive with either a lion or a griffin? All good questions that I don't have answers to. What if there are cool, weird fruit? Gum fruit. I don't know anything about One Piece other than it's long. Cannot have balance with a hand in the scale, written under every nature arbiter shrine. Hey! Well, this is kind of how the arbiters are in general. Like, that's their duties. So, but that's pretty good, though. Fruits give you powers! Fruit power! Necessity. The area between the green and red lines. Oh yeah, you might have missed that, Smug. I think we did that before you got here. So, I had the idea where they were all originally made. Let's say that's right here. Like that's the old HQ, and then after the war and everything's done, and they become free people. I thought, oh, it'd be neat if they had to go back there, because they hate Keshonite. They hate the stuff that made them. So they don't have anything to do with it. But when it comes time to make more of them, they kind of have to pilgrimage back to this old war zone and go back in here in order to make more. But that's the reminder of them, like, this is what we intentionally left behind. This is why we hate all this stuff. But then I was drawing this out. It's like they wouldn't expand. They would have a limit as how far away from that area they could get. You know, they wouldn't spread across the world. They'd just be confined to within a radius of that area. And they are supposed to be like people of the land, because they're mostly animal, right? So they just kind of live au naturel. So that's why they don't get involved with other communities or cities or anything. Very stern and strict in their beliefs. Immortal, no need to desire to reproduce. You can still have them perform the pilgrimage to gain something. Possible stave off decay. Could. I don't think she would have made immortal creatures, though. Not on purpose. Not immortal in the typical sense, rather they are very hard to die, very via natural means. Yeah, very hardy. Hardy folk. They are probably that. It would be kind of interesting if there was like 2 tiers. You had, let's see, you had this kind of going on, like it's just straight up animal with humanoid form, and it would be intelligent but like couldn't even speak, and was maybe a little simpler, but not dumb, not straight up animal. But and then you had the next tier, which was just something completely different that had animal aspects to them. And these guys kind of led and cared for these ones. Because they're like, oh yeah, we're the same, but, you know, we were just a later evolution. That would be interesting. But I guess all these guys would die out eventually. The only thing she make immortal creatures being able to reproduce in some sense is immortality, and they could treat it that way. Any other species? Well, kind of trying to figure out what they are exactly, too. Like the two routes I had mentioned, you know, do we want straight up animal or something that took animal pieces and made something? He's got an idea! Each generation has their own ritual of reproduction. It only works for that generation, so if we are in the 6th generation, then there are 5 rituals beyond the reach. So they have to find new ways each time? Like the world's constantly trying to snuff them out, but they keep finding new ways to survive? A la Life Finds a Way, as Carrie mentioned earlier. The faction 0 of the Beastkin did not want to reproduce, but a Romeo-Juliet situation happening, and a war broke out between those that want to live and those that accept death. Thus the other factions form. Look at you making stories over there. Maybe finding a breedable match is hard because they're all whack. So the pilgrimage to meet and bone the match. Yeah, there's one way you could do it. They all just show up at the ground zero, find a match for the evening, and then disperse, carry on their way. I think Glee hinted at that at her Fungalee festivities at the Great Gathering. Sometimes some left with more than they came with. Like was how it was worded. New ways every generation. First generation might have had sexual reproduction, but second can't do that, so they have to find a new way. They party. Yeah, that's right. Party and little mushrooms. There was a custom race she made back in the old D&D days. She's probably got a fancy D&D style document somewhere. Whoever finds a new way is crowned in honors of fame. And I guess they would be a bit of a hero, wouldn't they? Well, I think I got lots to think about. I do have a call. Actually, let's see if this call is actually at 3 o'clock. They have a tendency to move it around. Let's see. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Today's the 11th, right? 3 o'clock. It's not even that important of one, but I guess I'll do it anyway. It's Children of Men movie, each generation. Kind of funny if it wasn't so sad. Oh man, yeah, I remember that movie. I don't remember the details, but I remember watching it. It's coming back to me. But yeah. Scrat DMs! Ah! Oh man, she found it. Look at this fancy thing she made. A fungally, it's technically multiple pages. Because it's D&D, you can't have anything on one page. Gotta have it multiple. It was very cool though. Very cool concept, very cool species. Oh. Oh. Try and find Lamont. Yeah, man. She found some tools that gave her that, you know, D&D style. Everything. Oh, here's Lamont. Limit. And the Great Gathering. Why do you always post it in the center and not where I'm looking? Whee! Too bad, Scrat's unwilling to open the layout program. That's right. That's right. PowerPoint all the way, baby! Very cool race. So-so campaign. Installed LibreOffice last night. I mean, we can look at individual pages. We can look at spore abilities. Actually, what was... So, of course they had spore abilities, but... There's your abilities or your perks you got. Where was the... Did you get rid of that page? The hyper evolution or whatever? Oh no, there it is. Hyper evolution. Fungali are rapid evolvers. At certain levels, you gain a unique custom ability or item at the GM's discretion. Your HE can follow one of two paths. You can start with a weak one at level 1 and have it upgraded at levels 4 and 8. Or you can wait to acquire a moderate one at level 4 and upgrade at level 8. Choose a hyper evolution based on your backstory that serves little purpose other than to flavor your character and be expanded on later. And then upgrade. Or if you do the other one, at level 4, discover something along your journey. See, Glee was wanting to get into that narrative roleplay. It doesn't work in Dungeons and Dragons. Actually, there was something I was going to say about D&D when we first started the stream. And when I actually went live, I forgot. Oh, I saw the... I don't watch XP to level 3 usually, but every so often he'll make his way onto my feed. And I seen one today. It was only like 4 minutes, and it was another video just poking fun at D&D. So, like... Yeah, it's a funny skit, but... He has a lot of those, and it's like, I think you hate D&D. It's like, why don't you just go play something else? Because everybody in the comments is like, oh man, it's just like this, it's just like this. So it's like, okay, you made fun of it, and you make it look very unappealing, and everybody's like, oh, it's just like that. Yeah, that's my table exactly. It's like, come on, guys. Zoom on the gathering part. That's the lower... Great Gathering. Lamont's Lake is a sacred place, Lamont being their deity, that colonies make pilgrimages to regularly. The first time a colony visits, it is a tradition to bring a stone from their land and place it on the outskirts of the clearing around the lake. After many years and many colonies, this has led to an immense wall protecting the clearing. During a gathering, colonies exchange information such as intellectual advancements, current events, or future plans. Also, usually more colonies and Fungalis leave than had originally arrived. Yeah, their whole thing was, or not their whole thing, but a big, like a core element feature of them was that they live stupidly long. So, you know, building that massive wall was just something they could do because they live so long. PC keeps remarking about a spore that is bothering them on their shoulder that eventually turns into a Gatling spore gun. Time to teach Lady Crab with TTRPGs. I almost feel like I should. I saw just the beginning of your email. I need to go finish it, but that's about you're gonna have her try it again. What? Why would you start her on D&D? Why would you do that? You want her to like them, don't you? The Fungalies are cool though. Fungali, like their lore and everything, and you know you can just plop it to wherever. Whatever setting you want, it's fine. It's not specific to D&D in any way whatsoever. Other than the fact it said I think they live in the Underdark, but it also says they expand out from the Underdark, so. Power might be too simple and harder to understand than just having a number for every stupid thing. Play nuts. That way you can put a number on everything, but it's still loose and fun. Or easy D6. Or do Tricube. That's super easy because you have a number and it's a very easy number to keep up with. It doesn't really fluctuate. And all she ever has to roll is 1, 2, or 3 D6. And the challenge is usually going to be 5. And making a character consists of picking an archetype, making up a perk, and making up a quirk. And there's only 3 archetypes, so. And it's free. You can go to DriveThru right now. Get Tricube Tales. Full version. For free. Good and simple. Maybe we'll wait for Moss and Stone. Don't do that. You'll never get her into TTRPGs. She'll be an old woman by the time you do that. The rate I'm going. I still say I should bundle up the Fungali and make a Kickstarter for it just to take people's money. $50,000 custom race. A stretch goal of $250,000 and I'll make you an adventure module. Awesome. Oh. Did you decide on anything related to Warbeast? No, I'm just picking up ideas now. I'll decide off stream. Decide. I'll write down what I think I'm gonna do. I do like the name Warbeast though. Pretty cool. And it'd be a name like they both hate but don't want to let go of either. Don't want to forget who they are, what they are, how far they've come. So, anyway, I only got a few minutes before the call, so I am going to bounce so I can get in that. And nothing this weekend, but either Monday or Tuesday, like I said, I'm gonna have another stream where we try and do some book cover work. Figure out, look at, probably just be browsing Pinterest and seeing what we do and don't like for book cover designs. So, and y'all can tell me what you do and don't like too. Give me some ideas. So, see y'all later.